William Shatner and Star Trek actors celebrate 60 years of Trek, reflect on Discovery's ending, and tease franchise future. 60 years ago, Star Trek boldly went where no television show had gone before. What began in 1966 as Gene Roddenberry's idealistic vision of a united future among the stars has become a cornerstone of popular culture, spanning generations, mediums, and imaginations. Now, as Star Trek celebrates its 60th anniversary, several of its most iconic actors, including William Shatner himself, are coming together to honor the franchise's past, pay tribute to Star Trek, Discovery's ending, and look toward the future of this ever-expanding universe. The legend returns. William Shatner leads the celebration. At 94 years old, William Shatner remains one of science fiction's most enduring icons. When asked about Star Trek's 60-year milestone during a celebratory panel at Paramount's anniversary event in Los Angeles, Shatner smiled with the same twinkle that defined Captain James T. Kirk. "Greater than, it's incredible," he said. "When we started Star Trek, none of us imagined it would still be talked about 60 years later. It wasn't just a show, it became a philosophy. Gene Roddenberry wanted to show us at our best, and I think that's why people still love it." Shatner's reflections were nostalgic yet forward-looking. While acknowledging the show's humble beginnings, a mid-budget NBC sci-fi drama that barely survived 3 seasons, he emphasized how Star Trek's ideas about diversity, cooperation, and curiosity have only grown more relevant. "Greater than, the show wasn't about phasers or warp drives," Shatner continued. "It was about people. The technology was the dressing. What mattered were the stories about humanity, compassion, and the need to explore." He also joked about modern Star Trek's visual effects compared to the cardboard sets of the 1960s. "Greater than, if I knew the Enterprise would one day look that good, I would have spent more time admiring the view screen." The torchbearers, cast members from across generations unite. Joining Shatner were actors from nearly every era of Star Trek: Patrick Stewart, The Next Generation; Kate Mulgrew, Voyager; Scott Bakula, Enterprise; Anson Mount, Strange New Worlds; and Sonequa Martin, Green, Discovery. Together, they represented nearly 6 decades of Federation storytelling. Patrick Stewart, ever the embodiment of dignity, spoke movingly about what Star Trek meant to him personally. "Greater than, when I first read for Jean-Luc Picard, I didn't realize how profoundly this character would shape my life," Stewart said. "But Star Trek has always been more than fiction. It's a mirror of who we are and who we might become." Kate Mulgrew, who broke barriers as Captain Catherine Janeway, reflected on how the franchise's evolution mirrors society's growth. "Greater than, when Voyager premiered, having a woman in the captain's chair was revolutionary," she said. "Now, it's normal, and that's what Star Trek always did best. It pushed us forward before we were ready." Anson Mount, representing Strange New Worlds, added his perspective as one of the newer captains in the fold. "Greater than, it's both humbling and terrifying to carry this torch," Mount admitted. "But Star Trek has always reinvented itself. Every generation deserves its own Enterprise." Discovery's bittersweet farewell. Much of the celebration was tinged with emotion as Star Trek, Discovery's cast and crew reflected on their show's recent conclusion. The series, which premiered in 2017, helped usher in the modern streaming era of Star Trek, reintroducing serialized storytelling and emotional depth to the franchise. Sonequa Martin Green, who played Captain Michael Burnham, gave one of the night's most heartfelt speeches. "Greater than, Discovery was about transformation," she said. "Michael Burnham started as someone searching for redemption and ended as someone defining what leadership means in the 32nd century. We showed that Starfleet's ideals could survive anything, even time itself." The crowd responded with a standing ovation as Martin Green paid tribute to her castmates and the fans who supported the show through its 5-season journey. "Greater than, every time a fan told me, 'You made me believe in hope again,' I realized how much Star Trek still matters," she continued. "We weren't just continuing a legacy, we were expanding it." Shatner himself praised Discovery's ambition and inclusivity. "Greater than, they made Star Trek feel alive again," he said. "Different, yes, but alive. Every version should challenge us." The changing face of Starfleet. The panel turned reflective as the actors discussed how Star Trek has evolved to reflect changing times. From the 1960s optimism of the original series to the moral complexities of Deep Space Nine and the exploration of identity in Discovery, Star Trek has always mirrored the world it was born in. Scott Bakula observed how Enterprise's prequel storytelling helped bridge the past and future of the Federation. Greater than, we got to show what came before the legends, he said. The mistakes, the doubts, the very human side of how Starfleet began. Meanwhile, Martin Green and Mount emphasized Star Trek's ability to reinvent itself without losing its heart. Greater than, every Star Trek asks the same question, Mount noted. Who are we when faced with the unknown? Whether it's Kirk, Picard, Janeway, or Burnham, that's the through line. Mulgrew agreed, adding, greater than, we've gone from mini-skirts on the bridge to complex moral debates about AI ethics. That's the beauty of this franchise. It evolves just like humanity does. A message from the future, looking ahead to what's next. Paramount's anniversary event wasn't only about reflection, it was about looking forward. During the celebration, franchise producer Alex Kurtzman teased several upcoming Star Trek projects, including the much-anticipated Section 31 movie starring Michelle Yeoh, and a rumored new series set after Picard Season 3 that may follow the adventures of Captain 7 of 9 Jerry Ryan. Kurtzman addressed fans directly during a video message played during the ceremony. Greater than 60 years of Star Trek isn't just history, it's a promise. There will always be new frontiers to explore. The franchise's future is about courage, inclusivity, and wonder. We're just getting started. Shatner, when asked what advice he'd give to the next generation of captains, chuckled before responding with characteristic flair. Greater than, don't sit in the chair too long, it's addictive. But then, turning serious, he added, greater than, every new Star Trek should make us feel what I felt the first time I said, warp speed ahead, it's about hope, not fear. That's the real final frontier. The heart of the franchise, the fans. Perhaps the most emotional part of the event came when the actors and fans shared the stage together. Audience members, some in Starfleet uniforms, others with Vulcan ears or Buran earrings, stood and thanked the cast for 6 decades of inspiration. One longtime fan, attending with her daughter, said, greater than, I grew up watching the original series with my dad. Now my daughter watches Strange New Worlds with me. It's our family tradition. That generational connection perfectly encapsulated Star Trek's enduring power. It's not just a TV show, it's a shared dream of a better tomorrow. Patrick Stewart echoed that sentiment. Greater than, Star Trek teaches us empathy. Even in times of division, it reminds us we are one species, curious, flawed, but capable of greatness. Shatner's final word. As the lights dimmed and the stars of every Star Trek era gathered on stage for a final group photo, William Shatner took the microphone one last time. Greater than, he began, we've all traveled different paths, worn different uniforms, commanded different ships, but we're part of the same story. Star Trek belongs to everyone who dares to imagine a better universe. He paused, visibly emotional, before concluding. Greater than, if the show has taught us anything, it's that there's always another mission waiting, another mystery, another dawn. And maybe, just maybe, that's the secret of Star Trek. It never really ends. The legacy continues. As the longevity, it's